Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you the Spark 40 amp. It is a digital guitar amp that has a mobile app that allows you to download particular sounds and things like this. I'm just going to be showing you the basics of the amp, like the various states of the knobs and all the different tones of it, to kind of give you a feel for what it sounds like. So the first thing is that this guitar amp has a USB output. It has the ability to go directly into your computer and act as essentially as a sound interface, so that way you can record with good tone. In this demo, I'm actually going out of the audio output into a stereo interface. So it sounds roughly the same, but either way. First things to note is that this guitar has built-in effects, has various different kinds of amp models in it, and then there's also a mobile app that allows you to control the general sound of the application. So I'm going to be just going through and giving you just a taste of what this sounds like. So this is the default sound when I turn on the amp. So you can see there's a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb. Let's give it a little bit more. So you get the idea. So there's a variety of different states in this in terms of like the default sounds. I'm gonna kind of go through and show you some of them. So the first one is, let me see here. So I'm gonna do the metal first. Let's do something a little Metallica or something. So there you go. Sounds pretty good. So that is the metal setting. Here's the high gain setting. So the high gain setting sounds to me kind of like an AC/DC-ish sort of sound, like. There's that kind of sound, right? And of course you can adjust the gain. So if you wanted to kind of get a little bit more classic rocky with it. Little Joe Walsh. Sounds pretty good. Okay, let's go over to the crunch. I'm going to turn up the distortion. So this sounds a little bit more like a modern rock sort of sound, like the Smashing Pumpkins or something. like the Smashing Pumpkins or something. That's a kind of modernish sounding distortion. Then there's the GLASSY. It's kind of like your Pink Floyd-ish sort of sound. So this is something that I would play if I was doing like a rock solo or something. Let me give it some mod. So I can give it any kind of modulation. I can give it like flanger, chorus, or anything like that. So is that kind of sound? Let's see here. Now the next thing is clean. So this is like what you would expect with like any kind of clean tone. That's what that sounds like. That's the GLASSY mode. And you got the bass mode, so it's like if I were to grab a bass off the wall and plug it into that, I can actually play it super clean. If I got rid of all of the delay and reverb. So it's basically just a super flat EQ, super kind of moderate gain, and it's meant for clean bass playing. I'm not going to grab my bass right now and do this, but you can get the idea. So the next one is the acoustic. So this is if you're plugging in an acoustic guitar. So this is meant for that type of kind of twangy acoustic guitar sound. It kind of counteracts a little bit of that, gives it a nice warm EQ. So as you can hear, they kind of shelf off a little bit of the high-end EQ. Yeah, so even when I add treble back to it, it's still a little bit on the flat side. So yeah, that's the Spark 40. I think it's pretty amazing. Has the ability to loop in external audio, so that way you can hear it through your headphones and you can actually jam along to it. Also has a mobile app where you can basically just search and download a profile of settings that makes it sound like whatever you're searching for. So if I wanted to get like the Eddie Van Halen sound, I could search for that, choose it, and it would have, you know, that kind of plexy, echoey, heavy guitar, you know, phaser-ish sort of sound. Or if I wanted a Pantera sound or a Tool sound or Dire Straits or something, like you can pretty much just search for anything. I think it's community driven, so a lot of the users make their own patches and then upload them. I think it's through the Bias FX plugin suite on the computer. I'm not totally sure, so don't quote me on that. But in general, this amp is super small. It sounds really loud when you crank it up. I've actually taken it to band practice and it kept up with like real large, powerful amps. So that was pretty impressive. It's also really lightweight. And so in general, if you're in the market for an amp and you want to kind of stretch your dollar a little bit in terms of like the effects and things like this and like having some modern features, that's great. I recommend this and I give it my endorsement. The one thing that I think is really interesting about this amp is that it seems to be one of many of this like kind of new form factor of amps that I'm seeing on the market, which is like these smart amps, which is basically having a mobile companion app, having built-in FX sort of profiles or like patch kits or whatever. This type of thing is really awesome because, you know, in the future, amp modeling and effects and all of those pieces are all going to go digital anyway, even in physical pedals. And so, you know, if you think 20 years from now, I imagine that most of these things will have this type of connected capability. And it's really interesting to see Spark and Fender and Marshall and all these little, you know, amps coming out that are in this Spark 40 sort of category. So it should be interesting to see where we're headed. Well, if you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe, and let's go. Thanks for watching.